And while the old adage used to be careful what you share online, now it's going to be careful what you share with your computer. The thing is, these computers, they have microphones, which means they have ears. They have cameras, which means they have eyes. And they're going to have all this AI baked into it, which means it can process everything that you're doing. And since it phones home, alright, so today I want to talk about 3 different topics and the connection and what it means for you and I. Is it something that we have to be concerned about? Is it something that we have to be focused on? Or is there nothing to see here? Well, let's talk about it. First thing I want to talk about is Microsoft recall. That's going to be the first topic. Second thing I want to talk about is Apple teaming up with OpenAI to integrate ChatGPT with iOS 18, which is being released later this fall. And then I also want to talk about the fact that OpenAI has hired their brand new board member, who just happens to be the former head of the NSA. Now, is there a connection to all this? Are they connecting all of these entities together? It kind of looks that way. So let's talk about it. First thing, like I said, I want to talk about Microsoft recall. And by now, we probably already all heard about what it is. It's a feature that's being released in upcoming versions of Windows 11 and some new Windows laptops that'll be coming out soon. It's a feature that a lot of privacy and security people have had concerns over, and they've announced these concerns. The fact that it takes a screenshot of everything you do on your computer every 3 seconds. Now, like all technology, there is a benefit to this. There is a use case, there is a selling point, and it's being noted by Microsoft. The fact that it'll be able to recall everything you do within a 3-month time frame. So let's say you were searching for something 2 weeks ago, you kind of forgot what it was, but you know it was roughly around that time. So you could type out into your Windows computer and say, what did I look for 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago? It'll be able to give you a gist of what you were searching for, what you were doing on your computer at that time. There is a benefit to that, but there was a glaring problem when they announced it. The fact that it wasn't going to be encrypted on your device. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about it. Encryption is what makes stuff secure. It takes data, it scrambles it up into something that's unrecognizable, and only an authorized person should be able to view it. If anybody has access to your device, they'll be able to see it. Now, that could be a concern, especially remember the fact that we're talking about Microsoft here. Yeah, I know they've been really talking about keeping security top of mind, especially with the release of their Pluton chip that is a dedicated chip on the system that enhances security. But again, it's been a bad week for Microsoft. There's been a lot of security holes. A lot of exploits have been announced, and that can raise concerns when it comes to some technology like this, where it's saving everything you do. Again, every 3 seconds, if you go to a website and you put in your user credentials, if you ever click on that icon that says show password, that could be stored in the database. You should never click that icon, by the way. You should use a password manager. But that's something that people are concerned about, and rightfully so, because you don't necessarily want everything you're doing documented and logged. Yeah, computers save a log file, and data administrators, computer administrators, system administrators, they know how to get to those log files, but there's still limited information on what those files entail or what they hold. They don't have the images of everything you're doing. So for now, Microsoft recall has been postponed. It's going to be coming probably within the next couple of months, and new laptops that are built for Windows will incorporate this new technology. Fortunately, they're going to be adding encryption to it, and they're going to make it opt-in. By default, before, it was going to be automatically on. At least now it's going to be opt-in. And now what powers Microsoft recall? Well, they say it's an AI type of enhancement. It's going to be part of their Copilot platform. And we know that Microsoft has heavily invested in OpenAI, billions of dollars, $10 billion plus at this point. And we've seen how Microsoft has rolled out a bunch of new features with Copilot Plus. They have their own ChatGPT competitor. We see how they're implementing AI into the device already today. This is just going to be an enhancement on that. But now this segues into the next part of the conversation. Yes, Microsoft has Microsoft Recall that's coming out later on in the next couple of months. They've teamed up heavily with OpenAI to integrate artificial intelligence into their devices. But it doesn't stop there. Apple is teaming up with OpenAI as well. They're going to be integrating ChatGPT into iOS 18 and to a future version of macOS. Now, why is Apple doing this? Well, we've all known and we've heard that Apple's been very delayed in the development of artificial intelligence. Yeah, they've been investing some money in-house, they have a dedicated team, but it's kind of behind. It's about a year and a half behind what everybody else is doing. And at this point, it's kind of hard for them to catch up. So they decided to team up with OpenAI and to integrate ChatGPT into iOS 18, into your iPhone, into your iPad, and again, into the next versions of macOS. Now, what does it mean in terms of having ChatGPT integrated with your iOS platform? Well, there's going to be a lot of productivity that's going to be noted. The fact that it's going to help you with photos, with emails, with text generation, and a whole bunch of other features that are going to be productivity focused. There's going to be a lot of good selling points here. And it won't be the first time that Apple has teamed up with an outsider in order to provide a service. Apple gets paid a lot of money by Google in order to have Google as the search engine by default. You go into your Apple device, if you go into either Safari or any other browser, you're going to see often that it's Google is the main search engine. And they pay a lot of money for that. Now, the interesting thing is that OpenAI is not going to be paying anything. Apple's not paying to have ChatGPT integrated into the system, and OpenAI is not offering to pay or going to pay anything to be on the system. That means, what is the benefit for OpenAI? It's the access they get to you. We've known for years that data is king. Access to data and the ability to analyze it, to learn from it, is extremely valuable. Over the past couple of decades, it's been about how do we develop a profile on an individual? How do we know who Joel is? How do we know who Jane is or John is? What do they like? Where do they go? Who are their friends? What are their connections? How many data points can we put on a chart about who they are? Yeah, this has been a privacy issue for a very long time, but it's also been about the fact that it helps to raise advertising dollars. If a system knows more about you, they could target better ads to you, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Apple or any other third-party platform. But then also having ChatGPT or OpenAI having deep integration into iOS, that can raise a lot of privacy concerns. And it's also concerned somebody else, Elon Musk. Elon Musk says it's an unacceptable security violation. On June 10th, the very same day as WWDC, Elon Musk posted a series of tweets on X, formerly Twitter, with harsh words for Apple. He said Apple has no clue what's actually going on once they hand over your data to OpenAI. And he also threatened that if Apple does integrate ChatGPT with iOS, he would ban Apple devices from his companies. He said people would have to, if they show up to work with it, they would have to put their devices in a Faraday cage. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's basically a type of container that doesn't allow any data to come in or to go out. Now, the thing is, we pay a lot of money for these devices. We pay a lot of money for the iPhone. We pay a lot of money for our tablets, for our laptops, for our computers, whether it's Microsoft or Apple. But now all that technology is used to be able to create data points on what we do, who we talk to, what websites we visit. This has been happening for a very long time now, but now with artificial intelligence, with large language models, with these chatbots, with a lot of this technology, a lot of it's going to be able to be harvested a lot easier. Yes, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they know a lot about us. How do they know about us? Because we post a lot of information on these platforms. But there's also a lot of information we don't post on these platforms. And sometimes they can see what you're doing from one app to another, but there's settings you could set in order to prevent them from being able to do that. But now if the AI is integrated into your device itself, your computer, your phones, your tablets, all your devices, it's no longer going to be necessary to upload photos or information to the social media sites in order for these data points to be created. They'll be created on device. And even if they say that the information is going to stay on your device, we know they're still going to offer you the opportunity to back everything up. And we know with the integration of cloud technology, it's something we've become accustomed to. We back up to iCloud, we back up to OneDrive, we back up to Google Drive, we back up to Dropbox. And what's the saying? Possession is 9/10 of the law, right? So if somebody has access to your stuff, yeah, their privacy policy can say that we won't access it. But if it's on their system, what if somebody gains unauthorized access to the system? That's very interesting. Now, the last part of this conversation is the fact that OpenAI has hired onto their board the former head of the NSA. Now, this is very interesting. It's a very important part of the conversation because on one hand, we have Microsoft invested billions of dollars into OpenAI. So we see the partnership there. And then we see the partnership between OpenAI and Apple. So what does that mean? between Microsoft and Apple, they command over 95 or 96 or maybe 99% of market share when it comes to devices that you and I own. So is the quiet part being said out loud? Now, this is not something new, and this has been an ongoing part of the conversation. The fact that government resources has always been integrated or involved in some of these companies. We know that Microsoft has contracts with the federal government. We know that Apple has contracts. We know that DARPA does create a lot of technology and then ultimately releases it for certain corporations. I mean, if you think about it, one of the best tools that people use for security when trying to communicate in an encrypted way or in a way that makes it less likely to be tracked, it's called Tor. Now, Tor has been around for a long time. But what people really don't connect is the fact that it was created by the US military. So yeah, a lot of this technology does come from the federal government. And then it gets commercialized. But now we see how all of this is coming together. Now the question is, what does it mean for you and I? Should we be concerned? Well, the answer is, it depends. On the one hand, here in the US, we have a democratic republic, right? So we have certain rights that protect our privacy. It's baked into the Constitution. But at the same time, a lot of our data is in the hands of other brokers, other people, other entities we have no control over. There's going to be a lot of information out there about you. So definitely be careful what you do on some of these devices, or do as I do and have other devices that are older devices and run Linux. And while the old adage used to be careful what you share online, now it's going to be careful what you share with your computer. The thing is, these computers, they have microphones, which means they have ears. They have cameras, which means they have eyes. And they're going to have all this AI baked into it, which means it can process everything that you're doing. And since it phones home, that means theoretically somebody else can have access to everything that you're doing. So now it's not about be careful what you post online. Maybe we all need a Faraday cage in our houses and we got to store our devices in there. And yet we pay thousands of dollars for these devices. We work hard so we can own something, but in essence, that something owns us. But again, now for the majority of people here, I think it's going to be fine. But what if you live in a different type of society? What if you live in an authoritarian type of society or totalitarian type of society? Some governments have the right to just go to your house and confiscate your devices without a warrant. And if these devices know everything about us, in some countries, we might have to be concerned about that. Imagine living in North Korea, having one of these computers. Now again, this is not going to be in North Korea, obviously, because there is some type of disconnect or distance in terms of what technology they have. But let's just say, for hypothetical, situation over here, that you were in a country like North Korea. And if you said anything wrong in your personal log, in your personal journal on your computer about that dictator, if it phones home, you might get a knock on your door. So there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of thoughts that go through all of our minds. But it seems like the quiet part is being said out loud. Technology companies are saying this is the absolute best thing that can happen to us as a society. Artificial intelligence is going to increase our productivity. And that is true. I use AI every single day. I use computers every single day. I'm a programmer. But you got to remember, someone could use a hammer to build something or to destroy something. These are all tools. And with AI integration in pretty much every single device, and privacy being something that we've been talking about for so many years that we might be kind of desensitized over it, it might be time to stop looking at our phones, to pick our heads up and start thinking about what this all means. How much agency do I have as an individual? How much privacy do I have? How can I protect that privacy? Yeah, Microsoft recall, it's been delayed. It is coming out. Yes, ChatGPT is going to be integrated with iOS 18 and with future versions of macOS. And the former head of the NSA is now on the board of OpenAI. OpenAI, again, is what provides the power, the know-how for Microsoft with their Copilot Plus and with Microsoft Recall. And now they partnered up with Apple as well. So we have the triad. The connection is there. Question is, what does it mean? All right, this is just a rant. I just wanted to share some ideas, show a connection. If you like this type of video, let me know. You can do so by leaving a thumbs up, leaving a comment down below. Make sure to share this with others. And just remember, keep your eyes open. I'll see you next time.